John, going into the playoffs, what do you like best about the way your team is playing right now? A couple of things you're hanging your hat on going into this round.
No particular things. I just think we've been a team that has found a way. We've talked about that all year long. In this league, finding ways to win. We've had some inconsistencies through the year. Had a lot of things around the team. But we still found a way to get 98 points and get in. So we feel really good about ourselves, how we had to do it. Similar to last year, it's tough to make the playoffs, so we feel very fortunate and look forward to the opportunity.
I know it's an extremely small sample size, but what do you like about Texier that you're no doubt that he's going in the lineup? You've seen him twice now.
Yeah, he is he's not nervous. In fact, he plays with a type of arrogance that, for the age of the kid, it's pretty impressive. You can see his intelligence of the game. He's physical when he needs to be. He's engaged on pucks. So he's impressive, and he'll play.
You're linked to Tampa Bay through the Cup and winning. And
no reminiscing for me with Tampa Bay, please. No reminiscing. Guys, you might as well, let's talk about our team. I'm not going to talk about Tampa Bay or reminiscing about me being there. Just to make it easier for you, I'll talk about our club, and that's where we go. Sorry, Clay.
When people look at this series, they're going to look at you guys as a big underdog. Would you like your team to ignore that or embrace that?
The way we're going to go about it, Hedge, is we're going to prepare the best way we can. Have a couple days to do that, get our minds right, and then play. We don't care what's being said one way or another. We're going to focus on our being, our preparation, and play. And that's how we're going to go about it.
John, with Texier, how do you coach a guy like that who's coming in and has all this potential, and he gets thrown in there second to last with the playoffs on the line? Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you say to him when he gets to town? I mean,
it's a good question, because I think when you feel it's a young kid, he's new, he just came to North America, now he's in the playoffs, we try to give him as very little information as possible. We'll give him just a bit of a foundation, how we play, what type of defense we play. Is it man-to-man? Is it zone? Just give him some information on face-offs, how we go about certain things, and then let him loose. And one of the most important things we tell him is don't be afraid to make a mistake. We don't want to get in his way. Just a brush over of our foundation of how we try to play the game.
John, you were just talking about the journey of the season, the ups and the downs, and you got a couple of guys that played every game. Do you look at those guys any differently as far as the fact that they were with you night in and night out, and what they gave you over the long course of a season?
Do I look at them any different from what?
Like just hold them in any different esteem or a respect level or anything like that when you have guys that are there, the grind, the in and out of every single game?
No, I'm not sure how to answer it. No. If guys play every game, that's great. Whoever's in that lineup, we respect all our players. As far as the amount of games they played, we feel very fortunate that guys that played that many games, is we wanted them in the lineup and they were healthy enough. So we just, or other guys that didn't, we don't change our thoughts about them at all.
I guess I just meant, is there maybe an extra respect or anything different?
No.
Just when no?
No.
John, you've talked before about the benefits sometimes of tension, sometimes creating and getting things resolved. You have been a coach over the years that have not been afraid to make big moves. We talked the other day about Kreider. Mm-hmm. You've scratched some veterans at times during the playoffs. Do you like to keep a team you don't mind being unsettled a little bit in a room? That's not a bad thing for you, about who's going in and who's going out and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, listen, no coach likes telling a player, an athlete, you're not playing. No coach likes doing that. But it's part of what we have to do. Every decision in my mind that I'm making is what I think is best for the team. So I rest very easily with that umbrella as far as how I'm thinking. Are players happy? If you have a bunch of happy players in your room, all of them, then I'm not sure if we're doing our job the right way. Because I think athletes are competitive. They want to be there. There's only a certain amount of spots for the number of athletes we carry on our roster. And I don't mind players being upset as long as they understand and they are told the truth every day here as far as where they stand, why they're out, why guys are in, or whatever it may be. If they're mad, so be it. I think that's a good thing for an athlete as long as they handle themselves the proper way around the team. So again, it's hard to tell players they're not playing, but it doesn't bother me. We are making decisions like this young kid Texas is coming in. We feel that he makes us a better team right now, and so I have no problem making those type of decisions.
You did that with former captain of yours. I mean, again, that just to your point.
Who?
Richards.
Yes, I did in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah. Richie was really pissed. Yeah, but at that time, I just felt that's what we needed to do. And listen, Richie and I have a tremendous history going back. And but I can't. I just can't let my feelings get involved. I have to make decisions for the organization and the team. What's the best team to put, especially this time of year. Because certain times during the regular season, you're trying to get some guys going, and you leave them in there to let them work through it. Right now, it's about winning our next game. And so that's the way I go about the decision-making.
John, what, if anything, from the regular season series against Tampa Bay do you put in front of your guys right now in terms of
Say it again, Lori. I'm sorry, I missed the first.
What, if anything, from your regular season series against Tampa Bay do you put in front of your guys right now in terms of film or lessons learned? Or do you just put it all behind you?
No. I think when you know how I feel about video of the other team during the regular season. We're just playing too many games, too many different opponents. There's no question our main focus is us going into a playoff series, our execution, how we play. But when you're going to play a team for a couple of weeks, 7 games, you certainly are going to bring in some tendencies of the other team. We have some different things we're going to look at tomorrow. 11:45 tomorrow will be our first tape of not just them but us against them, and we can attack certain things like that. I think when you get to a series, you certainly have to bring that into effect. So we will.
So there are some things you can learn from those games, even though you're a different team now. And
yeah.
In some ways, your efforts against them was a little uncharacteristic.
Yeah. You can say it was uncharacteristic, but there was also some good things that we did in those games too. So, yes, we will bring in a number of different things based on those 3 games, without losing our identity. I'll put it to you that way. Okay.
A couple clerical things first. Bobrovsky didn't practice today. Maintenance. Same with Dubinsky.
Maintenance.
Okay. Building off that.
Jenner, maintenance. You forgot him.
I did
you didn't even know he was
him.
off the ice,
That's
did you?
Good. Yeah.
Maintenance.
Didn't. No, I missed that one.
Single.
Maintenance.
All of them. Maintenance.
Didn't even know that. Zingle.
No, I'm slipping. You know, playoffs are here.
Is it your birthday today?
It is.
Well,
Thank you. I'm still alive. That's good. Building on the identity that you're talking about, you've had a couple of those. Yeah, you've had a couple of those lines this year that have helped you establish identity in games, set tones. How important is that going to be in this series to have at least one of those lines that goes out there and does that for you?
Yeah. I'll put it to you this way, Hedge. I think our guys need to play with their identity. I think when sometimes guys are having success, they kind of forget how they went about getting that success. I think it's of the utmost importance for each individual as you start a series to be the player that you are, not someone you're not, because you've had some success. Sometimes the power forwards, they end up scoring some goals, then all of a sudden they're all finesse guys and they forget about banging and playing the right way. Everybody needs to concentrate on that, and then we try to bring it into a team concept of how we're going to try to play against our opponent here. So certainly You wipe it clean, the regular season, and I think it gives the player a chance to refocus on who I am, and that's what I'm going to bring game one.
This is the team franchise's third straight appearance in the postseason. Is there such a thing as learning how to win in this league in the postseason? And have you started to see, especially some of the younger guys, kind of embrace what it takes to handle these types of games and situations?
Well, we're going to find out. It's our third time with a lot of these guys that we have here. Still a fairly inexperienced group in playoffs. We go into Washington last year, win a couple. And then we're done. We lose 4 straight. So we certainly have some lessons that we can learn from that. I think that's a question as we keep moving forward here, and maybe after the series you can ask. We're certainly not going in and saying, we know how to do this, because we have not won a series. But to me, it's a tremendous opportunity to try to find out. But from at least the time I've been here, from a couple of failures, I guess, in the other postseasons, you can learn from those situations, try to bring it here, try to get better.
Speaking of lessons learned, John, a detail here, but I understand you're going to return home on Saturday, not after Friday's game. I know travel was something you reflected on in terms of decision-making last year.
Yeah.
Could you share what went into the decision for this year?
Just that. If it's a short flight, I'd like to try to get our guys back. This is going to be 2 hours plus. Washington was, I made a mistake there because Washington, it's not the flight. It's taken you 45 minutes to get to the airport. And I don't think we took into account going to overtime and going about that. Again, if I had to do it over, we would have scheduled it. So, yeah, we're coming back. We play Wednesday, Friday. We'll be leaving Saturday morning. You never know where the game goes Friday night, and it's too long a flight to leave after the game because I just think it affects the athletes.
You probably talked about it when Tex came up last week, but just his skill level to not only be in games you're trying to clinch a spot, but now going forward, no qualms of putting him in the playoffs.
None.
And that you bring some guys in, you hear it in different sports, and that guy's swimming. He has no clue of what's going on. Yeah. How incredible or odd is it that this guy can just, boom, drop in? Right? Was he on the second power play?
Was he working on it today?
Right.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I think it depends on the athlete. We did it with Carly against Pittsburgh, and he stepped in and played. I'll tell you right now, I'm not sure which is the best, to have a real experienced team as far as playoff hockey or a team that just has no clue, has no experience. Sometimes that innocence of really not totally understanding the surges and the pressures that go into a series, that may not be a bad thing for athletes to have. I've seen it before where that's a positive. And this kid here, I just think he has an attitude that he's not afraid of anything. You can tell right away that he's not nervous, and it depends on the athlete. Some athletes may not be able to handle it. This kid can. You can see it already. You can see it in just a couple of games he's played for us. So he's going to play, and hopefully he's going to be a big part of it.
Well, Lori had a picture that looked like he was giving Seth Jones advice. She was like,
yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't there, but. Right. Yeah, he's not bashful. He's a terrific kid, but Yarmo's talked about this guy for a couple of years now, and he is. You can tell he's been coached very well. Has a really good presence about himself as far as you can see that he understands the game, and that's where we got to get out of his way and let him play, and not add pressure by giving him too much information. So we'll see where we go with him.
John, he gets the focus because he's 19, but have you moved past the part of, this kid's too young or whatever? Has that changed over the course of your career? Because you've got a lot of young players who are contributing to your success.
Yeah. I always enjoy seeing kids come into a lineup. I've never, I think I've been kind of put in a box that I always wanted veteran guys, which is totally wrong. If the kid can play, if he's going to be better than that guy that can be in our 20 for the game, no matter what age he is, and we think he can handle it, he's going to play, especially in playoffs. And I think we have to make those decisions, not to cause a controversy. I don't think it should be a controversy. It should just be because it's the best decision for the team. So I don't care what the age is. If we feel he has the right type of attitude and right type of presence of being able to handle it, and we think he's one of the 20 that should be playing, he's going to play.
Was that at any point a hard turn for you to make?
No, not at all.
Last one, Mike. John, I got disconnected. How important, how much of a measuring stick, how critical is it for you, your team at this point, your structure heading into this series?
Yeah. I think for you throw out a period against Boston, that second period against Boston, the last little while, we have had good structure. We have been connected as far as supporting, as I've talked about here for the past month or so, that I think really helped us get us back on track. So, those are some of the things we'll talk about as we enter our meetings tomorrow morning, and remind them and rely on that. I think when you're playing a team every other night, I think that's a big part of relying on your structure. There may be a little adjustments here and there as you go through a series, but you got to be who you are.
And the patient aspect of it?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. It's a huge part of where I think we've made tremendous strides is kind of taking what the game gives you and not try to overload it and try to force things when you don't need to. You can fight another day in a 60-minute hockey game. It doesn't always have to happen in that first 5-7 minutes, maybe.